be very careful that what you think you're entering into the calculator is actually what you're entering. Now you may have seen this before as well. Let's say I do 1 minus 2. Okay. Have you seen an error like this before?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I know that usually you just hit quit, but believe the calculator can actually help you, and this may save you some time in the future. If you click on go to, it's going to go to where it thinks like there's a problem. And that sometimes clues you in. This subtraction is not the same as minus.
Oh, so the go-to button is actually useful.
It is, but nobody ever uses it. And then like I had to discover this on my own when I was about your age, in one of my math classes. I'm like, I wonder what it does. And because I actually used this calculator too, back 20 years ago. So yeah, it tries, but it's stupid. It really doesn't know anything. And again, it being the calculator. Calculator it's not a human, it's just a device. All right. Okay, so let's talk about some other things here. Let's say, because we've had a lot of problems where you've had to find like 15 squared, right? There's the square button. Do you see that? Now here's what also works. 15, and you probably heard me say caret a bunch of times. There's the caret button to the power of 2. Okay. All right. So let's say though, I wanted you to do to 15 to the power of 2 plus 1. Okay. I get that number. Will I get the same thing if I do 15 to the 2 plus 1? Will that produce the same result?
I have no idea. I've never tried that.
So think about it in terms of order of operations. What do you do first? Do you add or do the exponent first?
I'm guessing on it.
Yeah, so this one's going to do 15 to the power of 2, which is 225, and then add 1 to it. Now, if you were writing a test, you might include both answers.
Okay.
Meaning that you got to be careful here that you actually enter the right thing. And we'll talk about that on the other screen here, just to compare, just so you can see some examples. But a few other things here. So we've done some square roots. There's the square root button there. Let's say it's the square root of 225. That works out, right? But let's say it's the square root of 80. What do you get now? Well, a decimal, and this will not be generally on there. Now it might be close enough on some of the problems, but it's close enough sometimes is good. Like horseshoes, it's good, but maybe not on your ACT exam. Okay. Now remember last time we did some problems like A over B problems?
Yeah.
We would be like, all right, it's 4 over 3. Okay, is A over B. Okay, now watch this. There's this to the negative 1 power. That will flip the fraction. Okay, but wait, where's the fraction? It's gone, right? Now it's a decimal. To convert it to a fraction, you hit the math button, fraction, you hit enter, and then you hit enter again, and it will return a fraction.
Cool.
But it doesn't work for everything. Okay, so like again, if you do the square root, if you do the square root of I don't know, 90, and you go math, enter for the fraction, enter, you get the decimal again because there is no fraction. So you just got to be careful with that as well. So what I thought we could do maybe is look at just a variety of problems today, but focus more on how you would use the calculator, even if we know how to do it, just to get you a little more comfortable with using your calculator to find the answer. Is that agreeable for you today for what we can work on? Does that work for you?
Yes.
Okay. And we may get into some graphing. I don't know. We'll just see. Unfortunately, I don't have like this broken up into calculator and non-calculator sections, so we'll just see what we come up with. Again, it doesn't work for everything. It works for some things. So, all right, let me see if I can find a problem here. Oh, here's a good one. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to the other screen. I'm going to share it, but I'm going to go back to my calculator. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we've looked at this problem before at some point. Are you seeing this problem? Says the function f is defined by the equation above.
Yep.
Okay. Now, whether you know the answer or not, here's what we're going to do. Can you write down this equation? Actually, write down this. I need you to. Why isn't my thing? There it is. Okay. Wow. You need to have this equation down and then minus f of x down.
Okay. Y equals negative f of x. And then x equals 2 squared plus 1.
2 to the x, 2 to the power of x plus 1.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to my calculator. And it's what's really important is that you follow along and that you ask me questions or say, hey, I don't have the same thing, so please stop. So to graph a function, you're going to go to the y equals button. You're going to hit the y equals. Okay. And you're going to type in 2 caret x. X is right here below mode plus 1.
Where was the x at? Can you do it again?
Right here where the cursor is. Can you see that?
Okay. I gotta, it's like, so I put this, oh boy. So I put the 2 and then I put the caret, right? But
Yeah.
it puts in the to the power. Is that okay?
Oh, that's good. That's good. See, yours has got more capabilities than mine, your calculator, and that's fine. Just make sure you go down to the lower level for the +1, back to the kind of the main line.
How do I do that?
Just hit the right arrow on the D-pad, the directional pad.
Okay. Boom. Okay, there we go. And then just +1.
Yes.
Okay. You want me to hit
Okay.
enter?
Sure, if you want. We're going to go to the graph button, though. We're going to hit graph.
Graph.
And tell me if yours looks pretty much like what I have on my screen.
Yes, exactly the same.
Okay, very good. All right. Now, we're going to go back to y equals. Okay. Do you see that it says negative f of x in there? Now, again, the calculator is dumb, is very dumb. If you just put a negative in front, and then you go 2 to the power of x plus 1, this is completely wrong. Okay, completely wrong. And you're like, well, looks kind of right. You have to put parentheses before the function and after. Now this is correct. Your calculator doesn't know that you mean to negate everything unless you tell it everything with parentheses. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have this in your calculator? Something similar?
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay.
I was sorry.
No, it's very important that you do this, and we may not get through a ton of problems today, but it's going to be important that you learn how to use this device a little bit better.
All right, we're good. Press enter.
We're gonna graph it, and notice both graphs are there, and it should be, one goes up, one goes down. Do you see that?
Parallel, or not parallel, but what's it called?
They're a reflection of each other.
Isn't there like for that or no?
Maybe.
If you don't know it, then it's probably not a thing.
Well, it's the end of my work week, so I'm pretty don't have all the answers today. Check with me on Monday. Okay, now if we go back to the problem, okay, which is the correct answer?
It would be D.
Are you sure? How sure are you?
I'm sure I'm more confident with C.
Yeah, C is the correct answer. Would you, so here's maybe a more important question. Do you think graphing is the right way to do a problem like this?
No.
No. So keep that in mind as well. Like, we're talking about graphing, and I want you to learn how to use your calculator, but you wouldn't want to graph all of these. So I had a college algebra student many years ago ask me if they could use their calculator on every problem on the test, and a different test on their test. And I said, absolutely. I said, you can, but then we talked about, well, how long is your test? Like, well, my test is, it was like 50 minutes. I'm like, well, how many questions on your test? He's like 25 or 30. I'm like, well, you're going to have to do every problem in 2 minutes or less. And that first problem probably took us, 4 or 5 minutes. So it's like anything else. You gotta decide, is this really the right tool for me to use for this problem? And with more experience, you will hopefully know. Now, are you seeing my screen here about the radioactive substance? Okay. So we talked about this. We have looked at a problem like this before, and the answer is is this a growth or decay? It's decays. Okay. So the answer is this one right here. All right. So I want you to try graphing that in your calculator for me. Just that. Okay. And I want you to tell me if you have any questions along the way.
You want me to just put that in just as it is?
I want you to graph it, but I want you to do it in Y1. Y1.
Let me clear them out then.
I like that. That's good.
325 parentheses 0.87. What do you want me to do with the t on the power of t?
I'm glad you're asking. So your calculator might have a t next to the x. You don't want to use that. You always assume your variable is x in your
Okay.
calculator. Your calculator doesn't need to know that it's t. You just use x. Okay. Okay. Now I want you to graph it, and I'm going to share my screen, my calculator screen. And do you have something similar to my screen where there's no graph?
Yeah.
So if you want to know why that is, it's because the window that we chose is not the correct window. So your calculator has some capabilities. So if you go to zoom,
Zoom out.
do not go to zoom out. Go down to what is called zoom fit. So this is kind of a cheat. It's like the calculator tries to get a window that they think will work for you. Does it work every time? No, but it's a pretty good starting point. So choose the zoom fit. Okay.
Yeah, I got the same thing.
And you get something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is when you go to the window. But before we go to window, well, let me actually, yeah, I will click on window. So the numbers you care about on the window are your X min and your X max and your Y min and your Y max. So we're going to change these up a little bit. We're going to go 0 to 20. I'm just sort of arbitrarily picking these. And then we're going to go 0 to 15. No, 500. We'll go to 500. 0 to 500 on that. Okay. Now make sure you don't make sure your X scale and Y scale, we will change those, but not for the moment. So whenever you got these in, let me know and we'll hit the graph button.
Okay, I already have them in. So graph.
Okay. Yep, hit graph. And we got kind of a better looking curve now that you can see. Do you kind of agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you probably wouldn't use your graphing calculator for a problem like this. Okay. You probably wouldn't, but I wanted to cover a little bit of graphing. Give me just a moment here.
You're all good.
Just another moment. So I want to go find another question for us to work on. All right, so let's actually go back to our y equals, and this is how you might actually use you might actually use the calculator. So let's say it's x squared. Somehow, it's x squared minus 5x minus 6.
No parentheses.
No parentheses are needed on this one. We'll talk about why maybe in a little bit. Okay, so I want you, did you get this entered in your calculator?
Yep.
Okay, so I want to graph it. Okay, watch this. And it's like, what is that? What is that? Okay, and the problem is our window. So if you don't change your window or go back to some sort of standard each time, you're going to have problems. So before you graph, you really want to go to zoom, and you either want to go down to zoom fit or zoom standard, Z standard or Z fit. Let's do the zoom fit and see that. So I actually don't think this is very good either, because it can't really see much of the window, of the graph in the window. So I'm going to go back to zoom standard, zoom 6.
Holy smokes.
Now you can actually see the graph. Okay. Okay, but we can't see the whole graph, right? What should we do?
Zoom out.
Yes, but we don't want to zoom. If you just click on zoom out, I don't actually know if that will help. Let's just try it. So see how it wants you to do something. I don't like that. I like to actually change the window, and we just want the Y min to be smaller. So let's change the Y min to like 20, minus 20. And then graph it again. Let me know when you get up to here and we can graph it.
I did it.
Okay, so now you kind of got a full picture of the graph. And you'll see students doing this. They'll actually sit there and start counting like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then minus 1, right? Where it crosses, do you see kind of like counting those tick marks?
Sorry.
So if you just count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh, there's 6 across at 6 and across at minus 1.
Yep.
Okay, so let's go back to my other screen here and let's just talk about, so here's what I had you graph. I had you graph y equals x squared minus 5x minus 6. And let's say I asked you I asked where this equals 0. How would you solve this without a calculator?
I have no idea. I'd
How about,
switch.
how about factoring?
Okay.
Now, why would you do that? Because
Because
it's,
instead, what is it? Some form.
say that one more time.
It's like in a form. I don't know what the form is.
Yeah, it's this form where you've got 3 terms and that's 1. So you're finding 2 numbers that multiply to minus 6 but add up to minus 5. Okay, and so it's like, well, what are they? Well, minus 6 and 1, those work. So x minus 6, x plus 1 equals 0. So you said each of those equal to 0.
Sorry, I'm writing it down. Sorry.
No problem. What I'm trying to show you is that this is faster. The way we've been doing it is faster. And so you want to be really careful when you go to the calculator that it doesn't take your time away.
Because time is so fragile with this test.
Time is very important. So, I know we're doing it today, but the lesson here is like, let's not use the calculator unless we absolutely need it. So the reality is that most questions you're going to get do not require a calculator. Okay, but some it could help. Okay, and I'll give you one here next that I want you to graph on your own. Give it a try here on your own. You're seeing my what is the graph of screen?
Yeah. You want me to type that in?
I want you to graph this and tell me which is the correct answer.
Okay. I got C.
You got C. That was
Yeah.
pretty fast. That was pretty fast. If that's truly, yeah, that is the right answer. It is C. Okay. So that's an example like, hey, well, maybe I should graph them all. It's like, well, now I'm going to give you a problem where you shouldn't use the graph. Okay. So, well, or I'll tell you why the graphing it would be a problem. So let's say this is your problem. Why is my screen? Sorry, I'm having some technology issues here.
You're all good.
Hmm.
I was watching one of the YouTube videos.
Yes.
That kid, I think it was like a while ago, just today, or maybe it was yesterday's, but he's got an attitude.
Does that help?
He was so sassy with you. It was so rude.
Oh, you mean one of my students? Yeah, I know you're talking about. Hey, unfortunately, I need to do a restart here. So if you wouldn't mind just exiting the meeting, I'm going to restart my everything and just join back here in a couple minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks. Sorry about that, Elijah.
You're okay. Bye bye.